Cheers, everybody. I got a new mug, the old best dad ever, and my cute little baby girls and me on there. So we are here for another weekly Q&A. I know it's a little early. I'm doing this in Europe time, so most of you guys in North America are still asleep. But if there's any questions that you want to have answered next week, or you can just post them below on this, I'm happy to answer them as a text thread. Um, Send a little reply, but we are starting to build some momentum with this. And just want to tell you really quickly about this new offer. So there's been a couple of people that joined. We're actually doing the first version of this today, and this is going to be a lot more money later. I'm telling you, because this is probably the biggest thing that's the biggest change that for the better that's ever happened in this industry, because it involves really getting results for your clients faster in a way that's leverageable for you so you don't build yourself a prison. And the reason I really started this whole wrote the book and created this new offer is because I noticed that for like 10 years, every time I got clients in my agency, I like just had meetings and phone calls and teams and stress. And it's like literally one of the most stressful businesses in the world to scale. And I thought, man, I wish there was really a better way. So one person told me that they're 100% dependent on Google. They live and die with Google updates, and they need that. So if you don't want to be dependent on Google for your livelihood, which Google's like a pregnant chick at 4 in the morning that wants ice cream, this will definitely be for you because it involves working smarter instead of harder. Another person told me I'm at the point with where my SEO agency where I can handle everything just me, but if I sort of like add more, I'm gonna have to build a team and staff, and I don't want all those headaches. Well, this is actually the most leverageable thing you can get with a one-man team. You can bring in staff to make your life easier, but you can go so far because you're not reinventing the wheel with every client, and it requires like a change in focus. And then another person told me they just realized they have a Me Too agency where they're selling the same thing as everybody else, and it takes them a long time to get client results because they're going after the hardest stuff first, and they want to be able to like just differentiate when everybody and their cousin, brother, uncle, mother, brother-in-law, former roommate is a digital marketing expert. So if you're in any of those scenarios or you really just want to start building assets that like accumulate over time, like clients don't accumulate over time. They'll leave you after a certain period of time if you don't set this up right. But if you set up assets and the stuff we're talking about, what'll happen is your income will continue to build, even if you've lost people through Corona. So if you're interested in that, check out the pinned post. There is a link to it. Enough of me rambling about that. Let's get into the Q&A. So I got Tomas is up first. He says, "What's your platform of choice for landing pages?" And Tomas, it depends a lot on who's going to be looking at the landing page. So if you're looking for landing pages for your clients and your clients are brick and mortar, I found personally that most people, although this is not my personal preference, like Unbounce the most. So Unbounce is the one you're going to want to check out. I use lead pages for everything, but I do a lot more like online stuff. Lead pages is better if your business is entirely virtual and digital. You can also as well use ClickFunnels. Though I've never been that huge of a fan of ClickFunnels. I know some friends in the group they use a lot of ClickFunnels. I think it's kind of overpriced, and I don't think it's as cool as I don't think it's necessarily better. So if you're doing it for clients, Unbounce. If you're doing it to get clients and it's all virtual, then I would suggest Lead Pages. Lead Pages is really up their game with the customization, so I like it a lot more for that. But those are the two you probably most want to look at. Bala asks, Google ads or Facebook ads, which one is effective? This is a deep question, Bala. So firstly, Google ads and Facebook ads are just mediums to connect with people. So like people get way too hung up on like, is it Facebook? Is it Google? So the first question I would say to you is there's no one media that everybody should use. It depends on where your clients are. Like where are the clients you're trying to reach? So I remember Dan and I, who Dan's one of the awesome people in this group. Dan was doing a business called invoice factoring. And if you've ever done invoice factoring, what it is like businesses often have like accounts receivable for 30, 60, 90 days. Like say they work with Walmart. Walmart doesn't pay them right away. Walmart pays them like 90 days later and they need cash flow. So they're like kind of like payday loans for businesses. Well, if you're advertising payday loans for business, your people are probably not hanging out on Facebook. Like business owners are not hanging around Facebook looking for payday loans. At the same time, they probably are looking for that on Google. So a lot of it really depends on who you're trying to reach and why. But like, let's say you're going to reach people who are trying to lose weight. Well, there's only a gazillion of those people on Facebook. So the first thing I ask myself is like, where does my ideal client hang out? And before you think about like which ad platform, because they all work. I've gotten this question for like 10 years and the longer and longer it stays around, the less and less I understand it because they all work. They're all vehicles to connect with people. The question is, are you going to make it work with your deeper strategy and your offer? And that's why part of shameless plug for our new offer is helping you get your offer dialed in. Because when you get your offer dialed in, if it works on people, it'll work on Google, it'll work on Facebook. And to give you an illustration of this, years ago, we ran an ad. We were the first person to like have pricing specific for plastic surgeons. So we ran a little ad that was on Google AdWords and it said $3,900 breast augmentation, no hidden fees, free consultation. And then it took you to a page where there were examples of it. And we couldn't even put the examples on it directly because Google won't let you show breast augmentation, but you could put it on a page linked to the page. So strange. And anyway, long story short, the Google told us the clicks at the time were like $10 a piece, and we were getting them for like, I don't know, $1.50. And I remember that it was like about $6, $5, $6, somewhere in that range. We were getting people to actually fill out the form. And for every $10, somebody would come in the office. And about 50% of the people who came into the office took the procedure. So for about $20, we were getting a $3,900 client. Now, that client didn't actually make any money off that, but he had a back end offer for like a mommy makeover, which was like a $25,000 surgery. About 40% of the people took that, and he made all his money on that. So it took him about $100 to sell that thing. So we were paying $100 to get a $25,000 client. That's what happens when you have a really great offer. Now, at the time, we weren't like Facebook ads was like brand new and we weren't doing anything like that. But I promise you, we could take that offer and put it on Facebook ads. And we probably have to tweak it to make it Facebook friendly. But we could run that same offer in the same area and it would work just as well. So think less about like which platform and just think about like where are the people I'm trying to reach and what do I need to say to make it like completely irresistible for them. Okay. Abdullah, how often do you guys check your ads? Depends how much you're spending. I'll tell you personally, I go a long time without checking my ads because I used to learn that for me, it just made me neurotic. So I'm not suggesting that you shouldn't check your ads often, but I used to check my ads like every 10 minutes. I'm like, okay, and there'd be no change, like Facebook or Google hadn't even updated the data or, there'd be one more click than there was a couple of minutes ago. And I became obsessed with watching and not enough like creating, like how do I make good ads? How do I make good offers? So personally, I only check my ads like once a week. But I would suggest in the beginning, like, so you don't like just piss through a bunch of money, probably once a day is enough. And anything more than that is probably neurosis, unless you're running like really big campaigns that are going to change multiple times a day. Yehuda, anyone here have experience with traffic lawyers? Ding, ding, ding. Yeah, when it comes to traffic lawyers, I would tell you, to be honest, it's a very tough niche because traffic lawyers don't really make a lot of money. Like I actually have a client in this group. What's up, girl? If you're listening, her law firm does traffic tickets, and they make about $100 off a traffic ticket, and that's like they still got to pay a lawyer or a paralegal to service it, maybe $200. So it's not a lucrative niche. So you don't really have a lot of margins to work with. One of the things I've learned that really helps clients, like if you want to make your offer stronger, one of the things to ask your clients is just to ask them like, which type of clients do you wish you had more of? And the question is very revealing because they'll tell you which clients are the most profitable, easiest to deal with. Never in the history of asking that question have I ever heard anybody do traffic tickets. Because most people are thinking about, like most of your clients are thinking about the types of clients they can get, not being proactive about the types of clients they want. So they may tell you, oh, I know there's a lot of volume for traffic tickets, but I wouldn't suggest you go after traffic tickets because there's probably not a lot of money, and they probably don't even like doing it, even if they're just a paralegal. So that's my 2 cents. But if you do happen to do that, one thing that'll help you a lot is to have like a back end offer. So give them like tools to turn those people into referrals. We got Jonathan. Anyone doing lead gen for real estate investing looking to get my cost per lead down? That was actually my first ever online business, Jonathan, 2007, real estate investing. I had a friend who created a course for short sales. And I don't know if you remember 2007, 2008, the economy went to shit, kind of like it's going to happen right now. Sorry, I needed a drink there. And yeah, so things were really hard, and there were a whole bunch of short sales available at that time. And one of the things I found that through doing that process, I got really obsessed with getting lead costs down. But I want you to ask a different question. I want you to ask, how can I pay more for leads than anybody else in my industry? Because that's actually a more productive question. Because what I've seen, if you do this long enough, like if you do this for like 10 years, like I've been doing this since 2007, there's even people who've been longer than me doing this. One of the things you'll see is every advertising platform works the same. They're all based on an auction. So the price starts here and it's really, really cheap. I actually have friends who made fortunes when Google AdWords was 5 cents a click. Imagine that, like people searching to buy something and you can get them to your website for 5 cents a click. So they would sell a $47 ebook or whatever, and they almost couldn't lose because you had buyers traffic coming in for 5 cents, people looking to buy. But then what happened? Then it went to 10 cents, then it went to 25 cents, then it went to 75 cents, and then it went to $1.25, and now it might be like $18.50 for one click. And those people can't sell $47 ebooks. So if your entire business is predicated on cheap leads, it's kind of a losing model. So what I would suggest is focus on like increasing the value on your back end so you can pay more lead for everybody. And I would see this a lot when I worked with lawyers. So the beginning type of lawyer would always say like, oh, I could never run TV ads. They're just like so expensive, right? Like they're so costly. And then I would actually did like a lot of consulting with the lawyers who, some of them, like one of the highest one, spent $25 million per year on TV ads in his one state. And, just imagine how much that is. It's like $2 million a month. And I remember sitting in a mastermind with some of these guys, and they would say, I will spend $6,000 to get a $6,000 case. And that may not sound very wise, but they had strategies to turn those people into referrals. So that meant if they spent $6,000 and made $6,000, they effectively made zero. But they knew that person would turn into 2 referrals in the next year and a half. And that was good enough because those referrals didn't have a cost. So they knew that every client who came through the door would come with 2 referrals. And those referrals would usually be worth about $6,000 each. So their average client value was actually worth $18,000 if you count the 2 referrals it came with. And most of the beginning lawyers could only get $6,000. So they could spend $6,000 to make a $6,000 client, and the other guy could not. So you want to be the guy who could spend as much as possible. So don't focus on the cheap lead. Focus on like raising the value so you can outspend everybody else. Michael, Stripe fees are 3% of transactions. Isn't that a bit too much, or am I missing something here? Yeah, it's a little rapey. I'm not gonna lie to you, Michael. PayPal is even worse, by the way, if you use PayPal. But there's an element of trust and simplicity. If you want to set up your own, like with authorize.net or whatever, you can. It's a little bit complicated, and I've done it before. But you don't end up actually really saving all that much money. Like you just got to accept that that's the cost of doing business. And a lot of this comes directly from the credit card companies. So I don't have a good answer for you there. It's high. That's the way it is. What do you say to prospects who don't want to pay up front? And I actually just saw a thread of this in another group where a person said, hey, I'm looking for somebody who can generate business for me. I'll pay after you get results. And you could just hear the snickers of the group. And for a long time, I would have been one of those people that would have been like, I'll never work for free. You pay me up front. We actually do a whole lot of deals now on those types of people where usually they're just a little bit gun shy because they've been burned in the past. What I will look for as a qualifying factor in that client is, do they have a customer list that I can work with that could make it very quick and easy to get them results? So if they have a customer list, usually of like 5,000 or more, then to me it's really irrelevant whether they pay me or not, because I'm more interested in that customer list anyway. I've said it before, but the rich work for assets, they don't work for money. And so that's the biggest asset that I'm looking to get control of. So yes, despite what everybody else will say, if a person has no money but they have a customer list, then yes. But if it's somebody brand new who's going to give you a broken message and a broken funnel and wants you to pay for ads and work real hard, then that's an automatic no. But every once in a while, you're going to deal with somebody who actually has a whole lot of assets. They're just sick of being burned by vendors and they want you to prove it first instead of them having to shell out money. So if they have assets, I say go for it. Who can generate solar leads with Facebook ads? This is from Sydney. Sydney, you're going to want to connect with Hannah G. Wiley in the group. As far as I know, they're getting solar leads for like $40 a piece. I could be off a little bit on the numbers. It's not my business. But connect with her because they can definitely help you with that. Michelle, hi everyone. I've been running an ad and all of a sudden it stopped converting since last week. I was using lookalike audiences. I tried new interest targeting and the conversion rate is very low. I tried different lookalike audience such as purchase, 90-day page view, 25-minute page view, and all doesn't work anymore. It is directing to a beauty product, VSL. Anyone facing similar issue, good suggestions will be greatly appreciated. Michelle, I got some bad news for you. And this is why the most important thing, I talked about that in the new offer, is the value of your customer list, because there is no offer that you will ever make that is going to continue to work 100% of the time forever, and no ad that you're going to write that is just going to continue to work forever. The longest stretch I've ever had an ad untouched, unchanged that kept working, personally, and this is on our own account, was for 8 months on Facebook. And other than that, you need to constantly be recycling this. That's why it's so important to really get good at this process. And I don't know your situation because you didn't include any of the details, like what the VSL is and how unique your product is. There's a lot of factors that could be going into this. But the biggest thing is being like 2 steps ahead of everybody else, where you're innovating on a market need. If you do that, the ads tend to be a lot easier. Where people struggle a lot writing ads, to be honest, and getting products to convert, and I'm not saying this is the case for you, Michelle, but it very well could be, is it's just the same shit as everybody else. It's like legitimately just like something the world doesn't need, and you're trying to figure out how to shine up a pig, put lipstick on a pig, if you will. Chances are that the more you can innovate and the more you can add value. So one of the simplest things that I would suggest is, how can you combine value with your product? So for example, you can do, you can combine ebooks and information products with your physical product. You can bring in services that are well needed. See, there's lots of ways to repackage and reposition it and make it old stuff new again. And I suggest if you do that, you'll probably have some good luck with this. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right, Saumya. What if the CPL in Facebook is increasing and client very less flexible for the amount they wish to spend per lead? Campaign budget optimization might work. If so, which one cost? Cap, target cost? First question I'd have for you is, why is the client less flexible on the lead cost? And I'll tell you, more than likely, the scenario is that those leads are not converting for them, or they are converting, but they're not converting for a high dollar amount. And so they don't have a lot of wiggle room. So this is where you bring the innovation, because often what clients think they need and what they actually need are 2 different things. In fact, I would say pretty much every time. So your client thinks what they need is cheap leads, but in actuality, they need help with raising the value of their offer and their product and so forth. Because what happens is if your campaigns are making them money, then they're not going to be worried about lead cost. If I spend $275 a lead, but that lead is making me $2,500, I'm going to pay for that lead all day, every day, right? So there's a deeper issue going in with that, and I wouldn't obsess with trying to get optimization. A lot of times people think optimization, I'll see people, they'll try and automate like a $47 transaction. So I have a friend who's an amazing agency owner, and he also has his own product. And it's a course that sells for $500. It's on manifestation. I gave a testimonial because it is a great product. And he spent the last 6 months trying to optimize and get his lead cost down. And what happens is you can play that game for so long, but you're only going to get so much juice out of one orange. And the way to solve it is actually to add more value to the offer and to add more back end and to more recurring products and sell them a second and a third thing, which is way easier. And so that's where you actually want to look with your client is have a little conversation with them. Because if they're obsessed about the lead cost, you want to find out, like, why are you obsessed about the lead cost? Because chances are they'll say, well, I'm only making this much. And that's the real problem that they actually need help with solving. And if you solve that one, you'll get paid a lot more money than you will for optimizing campaigns. Because people who can optimize campaigns, truthfully, are kind of a dime a dozen right now. There's so many people doing Facebook ads. Like the last 3-4 years, there's so many people do Facebook ads as a business that like the number of competitors you have is absurd. But the number of people who can actually help people, convert on their offer and make their business valuable is much smaller. And that's the real business you want to be in. What niches work consistently great for Facebook marketing? Which ones don't? Mandy, I got a little bit of sniffles here. Which niches work for Facebook ads? To be honest, I've seen very few niches that Facebook ads don't work for. Like half the planet is on Facebook. Having said that, some niches are harder to target than others, and you may take longer to get success. But really, like I said before, and I kind of answered this, is like think less about Facebook ads and getting obsessed. Like people nowadays are obsessed that they have to make their business work with Facebook ads. But think about making your offer work on a real person. And what you'll find is Facebook ads get a lot easier. What do we got next? How is it possible to ensure that all ad creatives get more exposure? I have CBO turned off, yet it seems Facebook is giving one particular ad creative a lot more exposure. John, that's a good question. I've had that myself where Facebook just like shows one ad over another. Honestly, I don't have a good answer. I've never got them to like evenly distribute it perfectly. What I found that helps me personally, and I'm not telling you to run Facebook ads like we do, but like I say, think more about the people and the offers and less about like the optimization. If you think people first and optimization second, usually those things will resolve themselves. That's a good question. I'm sorry I don't have a better answer for you. Anyone who works in the roofing space, what offers have you seen work the best? Grace, you're going to want to talk to Dan Crystal, who is a roofing god in this group. He's been doing that for a lot of years and picking up big roofing contracts, and he's getting a percentage share on all his deals as well. Not just doing, traditional SEO where I rank you and you give me money, but he actually gets paid every time there's a roofing job. So I'm sure he's already figured that out and would be open to partnering or getting your help on that. Do any of you work with homes-based service businesses, landscapers, plumbing, HVAC, lawn care, junk removal, pressure washing, etc.? I'm looking to start signing clients in home service niches with intro tripwire offer being web design. If you have clients in these niches, what pricing model do you think they'd respond best to? $379 upfront one time, plus $45 a month for hosting, $55 a month, plus $45 a month hosting, so $100 a month. Anyone use memes for? Oh, that's a different one. That's PJ. PJ. To be honest, there's no one answer, and this may vary from niche to niche. Even though you mentioned landscapers, plumbing, HVAC, those are all a little bit different. There's nuances that are different. Like even just working within doctors, I've worked with chiropractors, I've worked with plastic surgeons, I've worked with dermatologists and medical spas, and they're all like a little bit different. The thing about it is the more you can like actually bring value. So like I have a friend named Jordan, and his angle with websites, and you can steal this by the way if you want, is websites that sell. And so all of his websites have like an embedded like a lead form, like almost like you would see on Unbounce. And those ones are designed to make people buy. If you create websites that actually deliver them business and value, your price per website will go up. And if you make it specialize in the types of clients they most want, so like say you're working with roofers, commercial roofers are far, far more valuable than your average, just, I don't even know, you call it like a V-shaped roof. Um, those types of jobs are worth more. So if you're working with a roofer and you sell commercial uh, roofing websites that sell, or websites for roofers that sell commercial roofing, watch that number. You can add at least 10 on that. So instead of trying to get 379, your tripwire can be $3,790 easily, because one roofing job can be worth 50 grand, 100 grand to them. What's $3,000 to get one of those jobs? So that's a big part of it. If you play with adding the value, that number is flexible, because it's always going to be like, you think about it, an offer is like, what am I getting for that? If I just get like a generic website I could get anywhere, then you're probably not going to get that much money for it. But if I get a website that actually helps me sell commercial roofing jobs, I'm willing to pay more money for that. Sumya, I got another question. How to advertise with Facebook in a highly competitive market? I guess it's creating unique creatives. Anything else you wish to suggest with your experience? To be honest, Sumya, I think pretty much all markets right now are highly competitive in Facebook. Um, the good news is, no matter what the competition is, there are always unmet needs in that marketplace. And I'll tell you one thing that's really, really helped me is spend like 15, 20 minutes in a Facebook group for the people you're trying to reach, and look at the questions that get a whole bunch of likes and comments, and look where all the ability is. So to give you a real example, in this group, when I was first advertising this group, which I only have done a little bit so far, but I went into an SEO group and I noticed the question that got the most traction. Somebody said, "Has anyone lost a client because of coronavirus?" And then there was like all these comments like, "Yes, I lost a client because of coronavirus." And then I looked around and nobody was offering anything for like what to do in this situation. So I wrote a little 10-page guide, the coronavirus survival guide, and I just advertised it, and I got like, I don't know, like 50 or 100 people to join the group. Those are like leads, if you will. 50 or 100 leads with one post. But I knew it was needed because I went in the group. And so like, in essence, my audience wrote the ad. And so if you're looking to like stand out in a competitive space, let your audience tell you where you should stand out. Like there's a saying I've heard before, and it's pros don't guess. Don't try and guess what your market needs. Like go actually like spend 15, 20 minutes reading it. And like I said, really look for the threads and questions that have a lot of comments and a lot of traction, because those are the unmet needs that a lot of people have. And if you focus on that, often you can like use their post word for word. So I actually ran an ad this year about like finding your life purpose in business. And I went to a thread where people were like talking about all the problems they have with their life purpose. And I didn't change a single word. I literally just copied and pasted the ad. And then I changed the last sentence where I introduced my offer as the solution. And people looked at it and they're like, wow, this ad is so spot on. It's like it's talking right to me. But I already knew that, right? Because the group told me. So if you want to stand out in a space, the best thing you can do is spend like 20 minutes researching. And it also works, by the way, on Reddit and Amazon are two other places you can find that information. So we'll look at the 5-star reviews and the 1-star reviews on Amazon that got a lot of upvotes. So like, for example, I have a client who sells a language course, and somebody said, hey, I moved to this country and I need the new language for my job. And so I have to learn it as fast as humanly possible. Now, before he had just been advertising like, I'll teach you a language. And he knows like 4 or 5, actually he knows like 8 languages. So he was teaching like 8 languages, but then he realized there's a niche within the niche of people who want to learn the language, who have to, right? And need to do it quicker. Like there's a time compression factor for them where they want to learn a language in 2 months because they need it for business. So instead of running his old offer that just said, hey, we'll teach you a language, now it says something like, you need to learn a language in under 2 months for your job. Most of what you learn in every course is unnecessary. Here's the 1,000 words you need to know in order to speak the language. Come sign up. And then he has like a webinar or course. I forget how he structures it. But that came right out of the market. So if you're finding your space too competitive, chances are your offer is me too, and you haven't done enough like research into what they need. But there's always, 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 always unmet needs in the market. So don't assume like there's, oh well, we can't help them. Often, like I said, it's just a little twist. Like he's still selling language. The difference is now he's selling like learn it faster for people who need to. Um, Last question I have. This is from Ollie. Anyone used memes for client getting ads? I'm tempted to mix it up a bit because my ads seem a bit serious. Yeah. I experimented with memes on Facebook ads for like 6 months. My lawyer ads were all cats, like for real. Like I had cats and dogs, and all of them were memes. You know, the Morpheus one too? We had that. They do work, and they add a little bit of humor, and so they make your advertising fun to read. The only thing I would caution you, Ollie, is don't screw up the offer because don't like sometimes, and I'm experiencing this because we're in Germany right now, and I've learned German for the last year and a half, but I'm not at like native speaker level. And what happens is a lot of times I'll read advertisements and they'll try and be too clever with their ad, and I can't understand the ad because my language understanding isn't well enough. That happens with native speakers too, like where people try and be too cute with memes and things like that, and so the offer isn't really cool. And so what happens is um, you just end up with confused people who say no. So yeah, you want to like memes do work, but don't make the meme the centerpiece. Like make the offer right, and then use the meme to support it, and just add some humor and make your stuff fun to read. But yes, they most definitely do work for real. People, I learned that people would much rather see cats in their news feed than me. So I'm sure you're no different. And that's what I have this week for questions. If you guys have any, you can always private message me for next week's show, or you can leave them below. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I love you guys. I love you guys. I know most of you guys aren't even awake out in North America yet, but this is when I got time when my baby girl is asleep. So, and if you guys are interested in checking out that offer, check out the pin post in this group because, I'm noticing a theme in a lot of these. Most of you guys, what you're stuck with, it seems like it's a Facebook ad issue. It seems like it's a targeting. It seems like it's an optimization issue. It seems like your client needs to get cheaper leads. All of those are symptoms of like your offer isn't where it needs to be and it doesn't stand out enough. And like I said, the minute you hit on something that does stand out, like for example, when I do a coronavirus survival guide and nobody else has that, or whatever that is for you, because this isn't really about me, but whatever that is for you that stands out, all of a sudden hands will go up and people will be interested because that's what a great offer does that makes you stand out. So chances are if you're feeling the pinch of trying to make your ads work too hard and trying to optimize this or trying to sell a website and nobody's paying top dollar, those are all symptoms that your offer is broken. And that's what this new offer that I've got going on is designed to do, as well as to get you a controllable asset so your offer doesn't, so you don't just get paid one time or even for like a few months of running Facebook ads. You get paid as long as you control that asset and are still alive. So you can get, 39, the person who's charging $379 a website, imagine you could get that client to pay $37.90 one time, and then you got a controllable asset that paid you $3,700 a month for the rest of your life. That would make your life a whole lot easier, and that's what we're talking about doing. So if that's for you, check that out. Otherwise, submit your questions. I love you guys, and may the force be with you. And for you guys, by the way, who are going to be in the workshop tonight, I said that tonight my time, this morning North American time, you guys are going to be blown away. This is literally the best stuff we've ever had, and I've set it up so it's all templated and formatted for you guys, so you don't even have to do any of the heavy lifting. It's all set up for you. So I think you're going to be like pretty pleasantly impressed. I know I haven't sent you everything out yet, but I didn't want to overwhelm you. So shit's going to be amazing. Anyways, I'm rambling. May the force be with you. Peace out, guys. Next week.